Vedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Advaita Acharya's appearance day got snowed in there in Texas, or short-circuited with electricity and no water, and so here we are on Sunday, a few days after Advaita Acharya's appearance day, honoring Advaita Acharya. The painting that you see on the screen, I hope you can see the painting on your screen. It's from the 1700s. It was commissioned by British government. They painted many scenes all over India, and this is Shantipur. Of course, Shantipur is the place of Advaita Acharya, some distance from Sridham Mayapur or Navadvip, where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared. And this is what Shantipur looks like today. This is the outside of the temple building, and in just a few minutes we're going to go inside and see the deities and so forth. Say Hari Bol to the Pujari. If you stand where the photographer is standing and go to the left of this temple building, you'll come to another building, which is the place where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Nityananda, and Advaita Acharya would take prasadam together and make plans for the spreading of Krishna consciousness. This is what you see in the screen is their sitting place. And in the back, behind them, behind the sitting place, is the three Prabhus, Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, and Advaita Acharya. Something's happening. It's going on its own. So just a little Prabhupada story. I'm going to speak fast because there's a lot to say and not so much time. Before Srila Prabhupada came to America, the very day before his boat departed to go to the West, he went to Shantipur. And the Pujari tells the story that, at least the one that saw Prabhupada at that time, there was a sadhu, sannyasi, who was seated by the outside of this little structure, the sitting place of the three Prabhus, chanting all day long and crying incessantly. So the Pujari saw him, and after some time, he was concerned. Maybe he's having a problem, so he went to speak with him and asked if he was all right. And Prabhupada explained to the Pujari that he was praying for the mercy of Lord Nityananda, Lord Chaitanya, and Sri Advaita to fulfill mission impossible. His spiritual master had given him an instruction which he found was not within his capabilities to perform. He was praying for mercy. As far as I can recall, Prabhupada did not say what that mission was. Maybe he said what the mission was: go to the West and deliver Mahaprabhu's message there. Some years later, the Pujari noticed Western, European, American, Australian white elephants coming around to Shantipur and chanting the holy name and having ecstatic kirtan. And so he was curious. One of the devotees gave him a Back to Godhead magazine to explain what they were doing. And when he saw the picture of Prabhupada in the corner, as you know, the masthead of Back to Godhead has Prabhupada in his mudra pose with his finger raised, giving lecture. He recognized that was the same sadhu who had come to pray for the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Nityananda, and Advaita Acharya at this very place that you're seeing the picture, at Shantipur. Inside the temple, there's an altar, and one of the altars is an altar of Advaita Acharya himself, with his right hand raised, and to his right, or to our left, there's a painting of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is another season. He's got it's probably winter season, he's got a warm turban on. And at the feet of the deity, you look closely and you can see the Shalagram Shila that Advaita Acharya worshipped to call for the appearance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The name of the deity is Radha Madan Madan Gopal, and then the Shila is just in front of them. And here's a close-up of Madan Gopal himself. This is the deity that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu worshipped. Here's a nice inscription of the lotus feet of Advaita Acharya, with markings on his feet as the Supreme Lord has markings on his feet. And just common within the Hare Krishna movement, before there were deities, was this celebrated painting, well known for the early devotees, because we didn't have deities. The first deities that appeared were Gaura-Nitai, but before Gaura-Nitai, Prabhupada called it the Guru Gauranga altar, a picture of Prabhupada, or Prabhupada and his Paramaguru, our Paramaguru, and the Pancha Tattva. And as you see in this particular painting, the form of Advaita Acharya is made to stand out most because we're observing and honoring his appearance day. And Advaita Acharya is in the deity form in Mayapur is pictured here, a close-up of the face of Advaita Acharya. When we read in Chaitanya Charitamrita about Lord Chaitanya's identity, Advaita Acharya's identity, it's in chapter 6 of Adi Leela. And in chapter 6 of Adi Leela, it describes that Advaita Acharya is this non-different from Mahavishnu. Something's not working. My computer shows something and this screen shows something else. Oh, there it is. On my screen, it's not showing properly. So there you see Mahavishnu reclining on the causal ocean. Now it changed. On the causal ocean, and there are so many universes floating in the causal ocean. He's the source of them. And according to Chaitanya Charitamrita, he is to be understood as the upadan karana, or the material cause of creation. And the remote cause, or nimitta karan, is up there at the top. That's Krishna. Krishna is shining light into the Mahatattva, the cloud of the material energy, reclining in the causal ocean is Mahaprabhu. That photograph is a photograph of Narendra Sarovar. Narendra Sarovar is a lake in Jagannath Puri that, following the Rath Yatra pastime and following the Gundicha pastime, when it's really hot in Puri, the devotees would go and have water sports in Narendra Sarovar. And there's a particular section in Madhya Lila, chapter 14, that describes Advaita Acharya was requested by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to act as Shesha Shayi Vishnu, or Sheshanag, and have Lord Chaitanya reclining as the spiritual potency of Advaita Acharya was supporting him, and the two lords were showing Lord Vishnu being supported by Sheshanag. It's one of their pastimes. As you know, Sheshanag is one of the expansions of Sankarshan, as is Mahavishnu, one of the expansions of Sankarshan. So that's how we see them in the Panchatattva. There's the Panchatattva. Normally we think of Advaita Acharya in terms of their activities of Sankirtan. Although Advaita Acharya was very elderly, he was celebrated for his dancing. We'll see that as we go along. Now notice in this painting, Advaita Acharya has a beard. Could you get something from upstairs, that folder by the side of the desk, the right side of the desk? Now, everybody in ISKCON likes controversy, right? We're not afraid of controversy. So one of the controversies in ISKCON is, did Advaita Acharya have a beard or not? Now here's a painting of a deity of Advaita Acharya, and notice that he doesn't have a beard. In Chaitanya Bhagavat, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur writes, I don't have the text in front of me, but it's one of his commentaries. He says, some people say he had a beard, or a beard and a mustache, but he didn't, according to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And I'm going to read to you what he wrote. In accordance with scriptural injunctions, Sri Advaita shaved his mustache, beard, and hair. Hair of any length on the chin is in ordinary language called dadi, or beard. Due to ignorance, some people attribute to him the symptoms like dress, beard, and hair of a foolish baula, there we go. But actually he was clean shaven. Pretty clear, right? Okay, here's the controversy. Srila Prabhupada spoke in 26 Avenue in 1966, reading from Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila, chapter 20, speaking about Sanatana Goswami coming before him, having been out, traveling about and with a beard. Just get him up to a barber and clean shaven. According to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Sampradaya, they kept themselves clean shaven, and only single instance is there Advaita Prabhu, he had his beard. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu never asked him to cleanse, because one reason is that Advaita Prabhu was just contemporary to his father, so he did not like to dictate. But otherwise, all his disciples, they were clean shaven. So, flip a coin, heads or tails. And you're right. Now, this painting is an old painting showing a deity of Advaita Acharya. And here's some, as you can recognize, this is ISKCON art, where the deity of the Panchatattva form is clean shaven, And similarly, another one, Advaita acharya, doesn't have a beard. But at our Mayapur temple, he has a beard, and people are used to him having a beard, so he has a beard. And they have their pujari reasons why they have him have a beard, probably Bhaktisiddhanta's words. He was, as we just heard, he was of Mahaprabhu's age, Mahaprabhu's father's age. He was quite elderly, and he was a vastly learned Vaishnava, Brahmin. And we hear from Chaitanya Charitamrita that he was an initiated disciple of Madhavendra Puri. Madhavendra Puri was a Paramahansa sannyasi, and in the course of his travels, as we see in the image, the very well-known story, he received milk from Krishna himself, discovered the Gopal deity, worshipped the Gopal deity for 1 year, and then the Gopal deity requested him to get sandalwood and camphor to cover his body over the hot summer. So in the course of his travel to Jagannath Puri from Vrindavan, he passed through, gosh, what's going on?
Sorry, we are having some issues.
You sure are.
If you can give us a minute, I can switch it my end.
We're going to hold on, everybody. We're having some technical issues. Welcome to modernity. The two, Haridas and Advaita Acharya, were speaking about the great misfortune that the Brahmanas were using all their prowess and skill and knowledge of the scripture to have wonderful ceremonies for the weddings of their daughters and propitiating the devas for material prosperity and karma kanda rituals and so forth, but neglecting Vishnu. So they were very sad. The painting that you can't see is Advaita Acharya has tears in his eyes as he's contemplating the situation. And that deep absorption of mood of compassion, he recalled a particular verse that is now found in Hari Bhakti Vilas from Gautamiya Tantra. And the verse says, Sri Krishna, who is very affectionate towards his devotees, sells himself to a devotee who offers merely a tulsi leaf and a palm full of water. Oh, you can see on your screen. Great. Fantastic. Not showing on mine, but that's all right. Don't mess. Don't mess. I'm afraid what might happen next. The lights may go out. Okay, so he was enthused and inspired, and he called out very loudly to the Supreme Lord, please come into this world to deliver the fallen souls of this age of Kali. He called again and again in a loud voice, not just offering water and tulsi leaves, but it was Ganges water and tulsi manjaris, and he had abundant supply by the side of the Ganges. And according to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he says, I was in my mystic sleep upon the ocean of milk. That's Kshirodakshay Vishnu, by the way. When I was woken up by the loud calling of Nada, Sri Advaita, my present incarnation is due mainly to him. Right in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Lord Chaitanya is making this statement. Now, a little bit, aside from addressing him as Vishnu, because he is in the Vishnu Tattva category, even more specifically Mahavishnu. But Kshirodakshay Vishnu is Mahavishnu's expansion, so it's also just fine to say in the ocean of milk. But this word nada is used very often in Chaitanya Bhagavat to address Advaita acharya. And Bhaktisiddhanta explains what's the meaning of nada. And his explanation is that the word is actually nara, but in Bengali that nara can also sound like nada. So Lord Chaitanya is translated as nada. And nara, we know, as in Narayana, the sum total of all living beings. That's in the body of Mahavishnu. A second meaning is all the knowledge that comes from the Supreme Lord, who's the Narayana, the abode or shelter of all living beings. Narayana is the source of all the Vedas. So Nada is a shortcut to speak of one who knows everything, one who's the embodiment of all knowledge. It's a complementary title. Nada woke him up from his mystic slumber, calling out loudly for him to descend. So this is one of the three principal external reasons for Lord Chaitanya's appearance. So if you're ever asked a question on a scriptural exam, now you have the answer. Advaita acharya's loud call is one of the reasons for Lord Chaitanya's appearance. The time for the Yuga avatar is another external reason. And Krishna's promise that yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata, that he would come and deliver knowledge when knowledge is broken. So he fulfilled those three purposes. So Advaita acharya has a very significant role. There is a close-up picture, photograph, of the Shalagram Shila that Advaita acharya worshipped for the appearance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It's right on the altar at Shantipur. And as you see in the image that's changing without my changing things, this is the Purnima night when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared. It's changing without my changing it. Okay, I don't know what's going on. It's the ghost in the machine, like Prabhupada would say. Changing slides. Krishna, help. Take this ghost away. Okay, so there's a very beautiful painting of the full moon night in the month of Phalgun when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared. The specific reason for his appearance on this particular occasion is even the Karmakanda Brahmanas would go to the Ganga on a lunar eclipse and loudly call out the holy name of the Lord. That was what they did during lunar eclipse, although they wouldn't chant otherwise. With a loud uproar filling the skies, with the chanting of Hari, 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 he appeared. Now, because of time, I want to tell a little story. I'll say it fast. In 1975, there was a full lunar eclipse in Mayapur during the month of Palgun. So we went, all of the ISKCON devotees, went to the bank of the Ganga and took half bath, chanting Gayatri. That's what you do. And loudly call out, Hari, Hari. And there's a tumultuous sound. But there was also 10 million Bengalis trying to get into Ganga at the same time. It was like a stampede. And I got out of there as quick as possible because I thought people are going to drown. The Ganges was flowing swiftly. People, crowds pushing. They want to get in the Ganga, and you're in the way. Get out of the way. So it was very interesting experience. People came out of nowhere or somewhere to the Ganga, maybe the heavenly planets or something, because there were so many people. And that is what happened at the time of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's transcendental appearance. Shortly after the birth of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sita, Advaita, Sita was the name of Advaita Acharya's wife. She came all the way from Shantipur to Navadvip to pay her respects to the newborn child, giving gifts for the child and for Mother Sachi. So you see in the painting, her thoughts as she was seeing, because like Advaita, she's the consort of Advaita, she also had knowledge beyond human capacity. She knew this little child is Krishna. And so with that affection and love, she made her prayers and offerings to the newborn child. In fact, it is said she gave the name Nimai because prior to Nimai's birth, many daughters were born and shortly thereafter died. And since Nimai was born under a neem tree, then it is said that the neem tree not only is medicinal, but also gives protection. Nimai was the name that stuck so that he could be protected. Okay. So now you see the home of Advaita Acharya. Some wealthy people have more than one home. Advaita had one in Shantipur, and another is right in the same residential space, the property wall surrounding Srivas Thakur's home, also encompassed Gadadhar and Advaita's residence. So every day, Advaita Acharya would give Srimad Bhagavatam class. But it wasn't just a 45-minute class in the conch blows. His morning Bhagavatam class went all morning. And the elder brother of Nimai, Vishwarup, he would go and attend. He'd take care of his morning deity worship, apply his tilak, and then go quickly to hear Advaita Acharya's class. And he was absorbed in hearing Bhagavatam from Advaita Acharya. Who wouldn't? And so much so that he would neglect coming back even for his breakfast or lunch. So the painting that shows here is little brother Nimai would grab a hold of his elder brother's dhoti. And what are you going to do if someone grabs your dhoti? You got to go with him. Or lose your dhoti. So Vishwarupa would go back, he would take his midday bath, they would have his lunch, and as soon as lunch was over, he'd run quickly to Advaita Acharya's home. So those of you that are from India, you know what that means. When a young boy starts taking a lot of interest in spiritual life, mom and dad start thinking, uh-oh, he may take sannyas. We better hurry up and get him married. So Vishwarup heard the marriage talk, and he had no interest at all in marriage, so he went off and took sannyas. Backfired against mom and dad with all their good intentions. And that left Nimai as the only son. And then after his father died, Jagannath Mishra, he was the only one to protect his mother. And so she was very protective of him, and he was very protective of her. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to teach a lesson. The lesson is, don't offend a great Vaishnav. Don't offend any Vaishnav. Particularly, don't offend Advaita Acharya. You're in big trouble. So after Vishwambar took sannyas, Mother Sachi, some say she just thought the thought, others say she was speaking to others, but in any case, she started to criticize Advaita Acharya, saying he shouldn't be called Acharya. He's breaking the family tradition, the family structure. He's not an Acharya. Acharyas don't do that. And he's not Advaita, he's Dvaita. He's been given the wrong name. My son's gone. Too much disturbed mind. She was speaking like this or thinking like this. And this understanding came to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's attention. So now comes the lesson. As soon as he heard this or understood this, he went charging to Mother Sachi's home and was ready to whack her with his arm raised. And he's a lover of his mother. So the persons that saw him in this mood with his arm raised, what are you doing? She's your mother. She's the mother of the universe. You can't do this. Stop. And he said, she's offended Advaita Acharya, and I can't stand it. I can't bear it. She'll have to fall at the feet of Advaita Acharya and beg his forgiveness for this offense. Then I'll forgive her, because Advaita Acharya has forgiven her. So people scrambled to get Advaita Acharya. Hurry! He was all the way in Shantipur, and he came to in front of Sachi and said, "It's not possible for me to accept your obeisances because you're my mother. You're the mother of the universe," and fell at her feet, and she's falling at his feet and petitioning for apologies. And in this way, Lord Chaitanya taught a lesson. He said, don't ever speak ill of a senior Vaishnav or you'll displease me too much. Never speak like this again about Advaita Acharya. I'll never speak like that again. I'll never speak like that again. She learned his lesson, and we should learn our lesson from Lord Chaitanya's loving interaction with his mother. Following this pastime, Advaita Acharya took Nimai to a secluded place and petitioned him to show his universal form. He indicated, just like Arjuna, wanted the world to know you're not ordinary. This was always Advaita Acharya's mood. He wanted the glories of Lord Chaitanya to be known throughout the world. But people didn't know. And even today, many people don't know. It's a cause of consternation for those that do know, and it's a cause of confusion for those that are just beginning. So he wanted Lord Chaitanya to show his universal form just as he had done to Arjuna. And so here's an artist's rendering of Lord Chaitanya satisfying the desire of Advaita Acharya, showing his universal form. After some time, we know, Lord Chaitanya married. Lord Chaitanya later took sannyas. And after taking sannyas by the tricks of Lord Nityananda, instead of going to Vrindavan, he went to Shantipur. And message was sent to Mother Sachi, whose painting is here, in Shantipur, embracing Nimai with his shaved head now. Sri Krishna Chaitanya was his sannyas name. And they stayed there for 1 week. At her request, she cooked for him and then made the request that he go to Jagannath Puri not to Vrindavan. And so for the remaining 24 years, with some little travel here and there, that was where he spent the second half of his life, in Jagannath Puri. After taking sannyas, he went to South India. He went to Puri, and then after some months went to South India in the pretext of searching for his brother Vishwarupa, who had taken sannyas, and it was told that he had gone to South India. Of course, Lord Chaitanya was omniscient. He knew that he had already departed this world. But when he came back after 2 years, there was another episode involving Advaita acharya, where the personal servant of Lord Chaitanya, his name was Krishnadas, one brahmachari assistant in his whole 2 years of travel in South India, Lord Chaitanya had to rescue him. Listen carefully. Even in Lord Chaitanya's association, Krishnadas left to go join the Bhattaharis. The Bhattaharis were a kind of nomadic Sahajya group that were really into licentious life and intoxication and so forth. And he became allured and was in their camp. Lord Chaitanya personally went to rescue him. When they saw him coming, the man grabbed weapons and were going to go chop him. The weapons fell from their hand and chopped them. And Lord Chaitanya grabbed Krishnadas. So when they got back to Puri, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu released him, said, "We're done with our travels, your service is over, you can do whatever you want." It was like a reprimand. And the devotees in Puri were very forgiving, and they wanted him to have some service, so they came up with an idea. "Krishnadas, you can go to Navadvip and inform all the associates of Lord Chaitanya in Navadvip, he's come back. Please have them all come to Puri. Soon Rath Yatra is about to begin." So off Krishnadas went to Jagannath Puri, informed them all, and, Advaita acharya had a big festival for 3 days at Shantipur in honor of Lord Chaitanya's return. But Paramananda Puri, he didn't want to wait for a festival to get over, so Advaita acharya sent Kamalakanta Vishwas with Paramananda Puri to go to Jagannath Puri. So Kamalakanta Vishwas was his assistant. And is a very special person in Advaita acharya's life. He, Advaita acharya, had a personal secretary. Something very similar to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had a personal secretary, as well as a servant. Kamalakanta, being the secretary of Advaita acharya, he knew all about everything, all the private, confidential information about his life and his doings. So one of the things that happened for Advaita acharya was he had received a loan from the king. Now, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, it mentions it in terms of rupees, but there weren't rupees at that time. 300 rupees. So whatever, it was some sum of money. So when Kamalakanta Vishwas reached Jagannath Puri, after Paramananda Puri was situated, Kamalakanta Vishwas wrote a note, a little letter. "Dear King Prataparudra, Advaita acharya is the personality of Godhead. He's non-different than Lord Vishnu, Mahavishnu. And so we should honor him with everything that's in our command. And part 2, he has a debt with you for 300 rupees. Please excuse the debt." Good intention. Somehow that letter got in the hand of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and he was furious. He said, "Tell that Kamalakanta Vishwas he's not to come and see me ever again. I don't want to see his face." Whoa. The word went to Kamalakanta Vishwas and he was so upset. And when Advaita acharya, after his festival finished in Shantipur, reached Puri, he met with his secretary, Kamalakanta Vishwas, who told him everything that happened. And Advaita acharya scolded Kamalakanta Vishwas, not for what he had done, but for feeling badly that Lord Chaitanya scolded him. He explained, Advaita acharya explained, I've tried everything to get Lord Chaitanya to reprimand me. But he always looks up to me and calls me Nada and all these flattering things. But I see myself as his servant. So you know what? I tricked him. I expounded the Yoga Vasishta, which considers liberation the ultimate goal of life. And this made the Lord angry. So he came and chastised me and treated me with apparent disrespect. And I was so happy, I danced and danced. And you didn't have to do anything. And you're thinking badly for yourself. You're most fortunate. When Lord Chaitanya gives his scolding like this, that means you're intimately connected with him. He wouldn't scold me, but he'll scold you. Lord Chaitanya laughed when he heard Advaita acharya expressed like this and said, ask Kamalakanta Vishwas to come here. So a messenger went to get Kamalakanta Vishwas, and Advaita acharya said, wait a minute, now I'm double angry. You wouldn't scold him, and now you wouldn't scold me, but now you're bringing him here after scolding him. You never treat me with such intimacy. You're treating my servant better than you treat me. And when Kamalakanta Vishwas came, Lord Chaitanya explained. So the purpose of this Leela was to teach a lesson. So sometimes devotees are in, some uncomfortable spot because the Lord wants to teach a lesson. We're not advanced like that, but some of the advanced devotees, that happens. So Lord Chaitanya said, if you're in an elevated position, you should not take money from a materialist. So he was characterizing or casting Prataparudra Maharaj as a materialist because he was a king dealing with wealth and kingdom and control and so forth. As a sannyasi, we don't mix with these people. So, therefore, you should never take money from a materialist because it makes the mind polluted, and when the mind is polluted, you can't think of Krishna properly. Now, does that go against our whole process of Sankirtan? Because we go to so many people who are materialists, and please take a book and give a donation. So when it's for a person that's a renunciate to go getting money from materialistic people. Now Prabhupada, one of his chief programs was life membership or book distribution. So we accept money from such people, but it's not the business of a renunciate or an elevated person to gather money from such people. That's not the business of a preacher or a person who's making life members, is to give Prabhupada's books, give Krishna consciousness, and so forth. That's the life of an elevated soul. That was the lesson. Nice lesson. Because in fact, Advaita acharya saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as the personality of Godhead. In that same place, I'm moving along quickly, I hope you don't mind. There's so many details to narrate. This is that same place where they would have meals together. On one occasion, Advaita acharya invited both lords. Now, as you see, this is after Lord Chaitanya had taken sannyas. He's with a shaved head here. And there's Lord Nityananda. And when Advaita acharya served them prasad, on one side, Lord Chaitanya was saying, this is too much, please take away, give me another plate so I can take away just way too much. And Advaita acharya objected, saying, you eat 56 times a day. So this is just a morsel, please don't complain and eat nicely. And Lord Nityananda said the opposite. You've hardly given me anything. You invited me. You're a Brahmin. You've invited me to your home. You've hardly given me even a morsel. And, some funny talk. The relationship between Advaita Acharya and Lord Nityananda was pretty amazing. Very, very difficult to understand how they would exchange and speak with one another, although totally affectionate. When Advaita Acharya would see Lord Nityananda, they would embrace. But in this case, they were insulting each other. What kind of Brahman are you? What kind of Grihastha are you? And Advaita Acharya said, who are you to make a complaint? People don't even know what your caste is. So stop complaining and just eat your meal. Scolding him. So Lord Nityananda took some rice and threw the rice with full force on the ground. Some of the particles of rice bounced from the floor, hit Advaita Acharya in the leg, and as you see, he started dancing, feeling ecstasy from being hit by the rice thrown by Lord Nityananda. So a very intimate relationship between these two lords. Very, very difficult to understand. Certainly not by ordinary measures. We know of Lord Advaita Acharya in many ways involved in kirtans. During the Rath Yatra, for example, he was one of the principal dancers, along with Haridas Thakur, both of whom were quite elderly, but that didn't stop them from dancing ecstatically. And a concluding note is, towards the end of Lord Chaitanya's pastimes, Advaita Acharya sent a messenger with these very words, a riddle, it's called. Please inform Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is acting like a madman, that everyone here has become mad, like him. Inform him also that in the marketplace, rice is no longer in demand. Further, tell him that those now mad in ecstatic love are no longer interested in the material world. Also, tell Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that one who has also become a madman in ecstatic love has spoken these words. The message was, the purpose of my appeal calling you to descend into this world is now fulfilled. You delivered the Yuga Dharma. You have delivered many of us to become transcendental madmen like you. This no interest in the marketplace for rice, that means the materialistic demands of people have subsided. They're no longer interested in the material world as a place of material enjoyment. So now that your mission is completed, if you so desire, you may return to the spiritual world. So it marking from his side a signal that Lord Chaitanya could return back to the spiritual abode. And so he did. After some time, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu departed this world in a very mysterious way. So technology is great when it works, and technology is very frustrating when it doesn't. And we had a little technology glitch. So my apology, and that's why I had to speak quickly. And now we have 4 minutes before the hour, and I believe there's supposed to be some announcements. Chirag, are there supposed to be some announcements right now?
Yes, Maharaj, there will be some announcements.
Okay.
Thank you, Maharaj, for this very nice presentation. Yes.
Maharaj, thank you so much. And it's always a pleasure for you to speak to our members here. And hope you're well and warm in the great state of Michigan. For information, Maharaj will also be speaking in the month of April. And as the dates get near, we'll definitely share the details with you. So please help me thank and show our gratitude to His Holiness Maharaj. Our next Sunday's program will have speaker, our very own local speaker, His Grace Radha Krishna Prabhu. And as all of you know, We will be having this Sunday virtual feast program every Sunday, starting at 11 o'clock in the morning, followed by a Rajabhoga Aarti that will be live streamed from our temple. As this coming week is a couple of events. Ekadashi is on Tuesday, but it is not suitable. I mean, Ekadashi is tomorrow, but it's not suitable for fasting tomorrow. We will be fasting for Ekadashi on Tuesday, which happens to be Lord Varaha Dwadashi as well. So we will be fasting on Tuesday, February 23rd. We're also fasting